Hi, and welcome to Queers and Soaps. I'm Eric, joined once again by Bevan, bringing you some more Dallas, Season 4, episodes 17 to 20. Time we can roll the credits and we'll chat. Episode 17, The
These
New
are the ones that
Mrs.
were like the
Ewing.
heavy Takapa ones.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I think
Shot
there's
every
like you could
time.
probably call this like the Takapa arc, honestly. And,
You know,
like serious. The amount of times you were right, like it's particularly in these four. And I was like,
these
I
four,
suppose
yeah.
it deals with it directly, that makes sense. But I was like, oh my god, I'm sick of that name. Like
I know, right? It's like do a shot every time you hear Takapa. Shot, shot, shot.
you could.
Um, I should have counted. Oh well, next time. Um, so the new Mrs. Ewing, episode 17, JR tells Sue Ellen about Ray getting the Ewing trust, and she just doesn't give a crap what he's talking about. She's like, neither, I feel like they shouldn't even bother talking together anymore, because neither of them care about anything of each
There's kind
other.
of a few scenes like that over the course of these couple episodes where they just don't, they just don't give a
No,
shit.
they're just over it. Ellie is mad that Jock didn't talk to her about the trust, about, Ray, what it was going to do. I mean, he hasn't been communicating anything with her. So,
No.
again, which he promised to never do once she had that mastectomy.
Yeah, I'm sort of like not really sure why he hasn't said that he's sort of one of the lead developers. Like, what is the motivation? Like, I don't get why. Is it just because she's already annoyed about the Ray thing, so he's just feeling distant? Like, I sort of feel like Jock's reasoning is a little bit slack.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm guessing too, like, because he knows that she's against it. So I guess he is afraid to tell her. That's what I think it
And
is.
just because, like, the Ray reveal as well, you reckon? Like, that's the only thing I could really think of because it doesn't really make sense other than for the plot to have drama, like,
Yeah,
otherwise.
I
Which is
honestly think that's it.
it's a
I
little
think that's it.
unusual, but it's a little unusual, but for the show. But oh well.
But as we find out in, episode 20, the real reasoning. So, but we'll chat about that.
Yeah, yeah, I know. It just seems a little
Yeah.
contrived. But yes,
I
anyway.
mean, yeah. But uh he tries to tell her about the Takapa right then and there, but she's like over it anyway. So she's like, "Nope, I don't want to talk to you." Bye.
Yeah, that's fair.
Donna and Ray discuss Takapa. He's involved more than she thought. And she really can't believe that. She's like, "This isn't the man I fell for. Like, you are into this." But I feel like he's just doing it because of Jock. I don't really feel like, it's just a bond
I
with
just sort
Jock, I
of,
feel like.
I just kind of like, I don't know, like, yeah, I just find it a little bit much on everybody's part. Like, oh, he's not the man I married type vibe. Like, I sort of got a little bit of
Right.
that vibe too. And I'm like, okay, but like, you intermittently dated for like a year or two and then you randomly got married. Like,
Right. And you're
you're not going
complete
to know the
opposite.
guy. Yeah, and like you're not gonna know the guy that quickly, okay? Like just saying. Like
Right.
and like Ray's an
And
idiot in a lot of ways with like the career stuff. But like I don't know, I felt it was a little bit heavy handed. I was like, all right, everybody just like calm down on their moral hysteria. Like
right.
yeah.
But I like that they do agree to leave it at the door. They say,
Yeah, yeah.
once we're home, we're home. We'll leave it out. That's good. That's um recommended by psychiatrists and stuff. So that's nice.
By Dr. Albies.
Without even Yeah, without even seeing one. Lucy interviews with Alex, um, the man that's into Pam. Um, and he gives some. I thought this was the crazy dude that happens eventually, but it's I guess not because he gives her like a
No,
number to get headshots. I thought it was heading. I don't remember exactly when that is. I'm guessing it's next
uh,
season
yeah, I'm
because
pretty
it's
sure it's
totally
season 5, and
okay.
I felt like they only so it all. I always felt like that plot line came a little bit out of not completely out of nowhere, but like it just sort of went from like 1 to 100. Like I do like it still, and it was cool that way.
Yeah,
But like I remember thinking, oh, he's a bit weird, and then I was like, oh, he's crazy. like like
Yeah.
immediately. But yeah, no,
Yeah. I mean, it does play. It does take a little bit to play out.
yeah, it does.
Sue Ellen tells Dr. Albie about Dusty being alive and all that stuff.
Mm.
JR and Leslie watch. I guess they're watching like TV. Bobby's getting involved in the politics and all that. They don't really do much.
Yeah, it's about his. Isn't it about his race, like his senatorial race,
Yeah.
something like that? Yeah,
Um, Jordan wants to meet up. And we find out that it's a landslide for Bobby. I guess that he got. Did he get elected, or is it that he's
I think that's what happened. Yeah, or at least he's like a
okay?
candidate. No, because
That's
he's
what
on
I
like
thought it.
it might have
I
been the
thought it was.
canon.
Yeah, I don't know how it works, but he either got elected or he's a candidate. I don't know. Everybody's excited though.
I'll double check with it, but it's just that he was also on governing bodies in later episodes as well. So I swear he got elected.
I guess he got elected, but I feel like it wasn't that good of a celebration for him. I mean, it was like him and Pam and a bunch of people we don't know. Well,
And there's
whatever.
like a little cutscene of everybody being like, "Yeah,
Right. Bobby and Pam are happy. He gives a speech for the Senate, whatever. Cliff's all mad about it. Justin, Leslie, and oh, Justin is at Leslie's house. That's her ex-lover or ex-husband. I think it's her
I
ex. Oh, this is
no,
her
yeah,
ex-lover.
yeah," because the ex-husband comes back later. Because
Comes
I got a little bit.
later.
I was like, "Is this the same guy?" Because they're all sort of like older
Yeah,
men as well, and they all kind of look the same.
right. I do love Leslie. She's fun.
Hmm.
And he basically knows what she's up to. He knows that she's using JR to further her career and get some money. And he's like, "Well, you'll be back to me, whatever." And she's like, "Whatever, dude. Like, get out."
Yeah,
She tells him he's boring. I like that. You're boring. Go home.
yeah,
Um, Sue Ellen calls Clint. I didn't remember Clint hanging around for as long as he did, but he's still around. I totally forgot. She calls Clint for lunch. The cartel talk about, which is, I think it's just Mary Lee and Jordan talk
in
about
that
the
one.
strip
Yeah.
mining. Talk about the strip mining thing. Leslie's like that'll give you a bad reputation. You shouldn't do that. Um, then they get all mad and they leave. They're like, you shouldn't listen to this woman or whatever. JR shuts Leslie down. And she plays with it with this. I love what she does. She just ignores them. She goes away, disappears. He's trying to call for her. She's not answering the phone. She's just listening to the machine. Like, got you
Yeah,
by the balls, motherfucker.
she really does play it well. Like,
Yeah. Yep. Alex gives Lucy the job as Miss Young Dallas. Bobby talks to Cliff. Cliff's all angry. And Bobby's like, why don't you teach me if you don't think I can do what I need to do? Which I
then teach
actually
me how to
love.
do it. Yeah,
I love
I
when
actually
Bobby and
do.
Cliff work together.
I actually did. I forgot all about this little arc because, like, it goes for
Me
a little
too.
while. I forgot all
Yeah.
about it, and yeah, I was like, "Oh wait!" And I started having like these little flash memories, and I'm like, "No, this is good." It's when like him and Cliff actually sort of get along, and Cliff kind of, sort of,
Hmm.
like he always has it to a degree because obviously Bobby's gonna stick with his family, but he just it's like that respect thing. He doesn't actually like he likes him essentially.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
Bobby looks like he's a little nervous because he's like, I only took it just so I can see JR's face when he finds out. Bobby's like, oh.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
mean, what
yeah,
do you expect, Bobby? Like, seriously, you're asking your enemy.
yeah. I
I
think
mean,
it's
I
just
get
that
it,
thing of like, yeah,
but I mean, he's a nice guy, and it'll help Pam and him, obviously.
it'd just be like a
Um,
little bit of like Cliff taking the piss a bit, because Cliff's a shit stirrer. He's done it a couple of times in different thingos, and Bobby's done it to him a little bit before, like, about the
yeah, yeah.
restaurants and everything.
So Cliff takes the job, and
Yeah.
he just wants to see JR's face, which I don't know if even JR finds out in these 4 episodes. I don't think he does.
I think it's just
Um,
sort of like a thing. And yeah, I think it is just sort of like a thing for Cliff there, because I don't remember JR directly finding out either.
You figured like Cliff would run right to him and be like, "I'm working with your brother," but he
Well, you know,
doesn't.
Dad's too
I
busy
guess,
chasing after Leslie, so
yeah. Um, Clint and Sue Ellen do lunch. He says he basically has to make a decision with Alicia. She, for some reason, is like putting him off. She's like, "Don't do that." Like, just like she's enjoying what she has. Like
mm.
afternoon sex at a random hotel. I guess they rent the room for an hour and whatever. She's liking that. Um, so she doesn't want him to do anything like ruin his marriage for it. Jordan and
It's because
okay,
it's safe. It's safe. It's for the exact reasons that Dr. Elby asks her why she's in it. So she's like, he goes, you know, he sort of talks about that the relationship largely has no future because he's married, he may end up staying with his wife. But that's the thing.
yeah,
That's Sue Ellen's like protection because she knows that she
right.
the thing is that Clint would easily leave his wife for Sue Ellen, but Sue Ellen won't let
Right.
him because yeah, it's a
Because
buffer. It's a way for her to kind of have
right,
her cake and eat it too, you know.
right.
Um,
She's
and
getting
then
the
yeah,
loving she needs. Yeah, and
like
that Dusty can't give
yeah,
her right now, and that JR is not giving her at all.
but it's without the commitment that's dangerous for her because you know
Yeah,
Dusty came with commitment and she enjoys this man, she cares about him. But if he's already married, then she doesn't have to commit anything more than these hotel, you know, these nights together. So
right.
it's like a safe thing. He's safe.
Jordan Lee goes to Jock, and he talks about Leslie. He's like, "This woman's ruining things for us." Blah blah blah. Jock gets all mad about it. Um, Jock and Ellie talk. She tells him and JR off and says that they sicken her. I love that. I love how she does it. It was good.
You sicken. Like she does that little that bite on the end of it.
She's good. Like she's just a great actress. Like to be able to do the material she's given is just like she blows it out of the water. Which is
Yeah,
what
she
makes
does.
her, I think, lovable. Is like we know she's a shit mom, but like, but we still care about her for some reason.
I
Like
just think Barbara Bel
Me and my
Geddes
friend
is just
Karen,
able to do nuance.
yeah, like me and Karen are always like, "How dare they upset Miss Ellie?" Like when somebody like makes her cry, you're just like, "How dare you?" But yeah, she kind of deserved it at the same time. So Lucy tells Mitch the good news. She comes home with $1,000 check for the model, whatever bullshit she's doing, and he comes home with a $60 check. He's like, "I worked 2 nights for this."
You know what I do like about these little episodes with them is like even though it sort of is like the money thing, um, because Lucy's like a model and all that. It's like I don't know. Like don't get me wrong. Like you know whether like Mitch reacts the right way or does the right thing in regards to it. I kind of like
Yeah.
this idea of how we see the partner of someone famous. You know what I mean? Like, or at least someone that's
Hmm.
like recognizable and stuff. And they're all kind of talking about it quite lewdly. You know what I mean? And he can't really
Hmm.
do anything about it. Like,
Yeah.
and it's like, you know, like, yeah, I don't know. I found that more interesting than I did on other watch throughs, you know? So,
Yeah. Same.
yeah,
It's like it's both annoying but interesting
interesting.
at the same
Yeah,
time
yeah. The money
because
thing
like,
annoys me more, but this sort of
oh my
stuff
God,
and how it
I know.
contributes to the overall thing. Like that it contributes
Right.
to the overall thing, I don't mind, or that the money thing is a part of it in an overall sense, I don't mind. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's just this particular angle. I was like, I forgot all about it, and it was just interesting. And you know, it's played really well as well, of course. But yeah,
It it just gets on my nerves too because like Lucy's just like always so loving toward him, and like for him to not be able to just swallow his pride and get the fuck over it, I'm like, just dude, give her a day, give her a couple days, like just
so they
like
do
he's
true. They do
always up
that
her
though.
ass.
He is a bit, but it's like he comes from the poorhouse. He's never had a chance to relax, you know? Like
Right.
the way they talk about poor, honestly, I don't. think I've ever seen that type of pour before, but it is something that you see a lot in like in shows like these where people talk about where they
Yeah,
come from and stuff. So like
right.
I don't know, like I mean I guess there must be poor and then there's just like dirt poor, you know?
Wrong
Like we
side of
think
the tracks. Always had to work your butt off for a little pay, like those type of
yeah,
stories.
yeah, yeah, like it must
Yeah,
be
we've seen it in everything, pretty much.
yeah, yeah. And it's just yeah, so like I sort of I get it more for Mitch in terms of being like a young man, whereas Ray is
Right,
like a grown ass man who has his own property and like his own thing, and he still gets the shits
yeah,
with Donna, you know. So that's I guess just in a comparable sort of dynamic. I find like at least Mitch is sort of younger and you know is still learning as a human being, or at least a
right.
character, you know. Whereas Ray's just a grown ass man.
Yeah, yeah, right. So he's like, and I thought I'd be able to pay for the maid, which I was like, oh, he was gonna get the maid again for Lucy, which I thought was sweet. But I don't think they do. At least not now.
No, I don't think
Um,
so.
Next thing you know it, Ray and Donna are married, which I feel was kind of a cop out. Like I feel like uh there's got to be fans of Ray. Like I was a Ray and Donna fan enough to see a nice wedding. Like you know what I mean? Like to see a cute little somewhere wedding. Like they just kind of did it at the courthouse with Pam and Bobby, and that was it. And I'm just like, how boring.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean, in a way, it fits with Donna though because she's not really, you know, like it's not that she, you know, I don't know,
right.
like
She's not like a show pony, right?
or traditionalist really, you know,
Yeah,
like even the way she talks, like I don't know, I just she, you know, I mean, yeah, she's not like an extreme person or anything or has like these extreme views, but she's very about her own agency. Whether the
right.
writers have always done her justice in that way is another question. I think um, Susan Howard has always tried to play her that way, though.
Yeah. And Bobby tells Pam about Cliff working with him now.
Yeah,
That was nice.
yeah,
Ellie seems happy for Donna and Ray that they're married. And she wants to have a party for them. Um, Bobby hears about Lucy getting the job from Alex, getting the model job from Alex.
mm,
So he runs off to talk to Alex. He tells them, and Alex tells him off basically, like, dude, be there for your wife. It was easy for me to just slide right in and take your place. Like, and Bobby's like, what? Like,
Bruh.
really, Bobby? I don't
Yeah.
know.
He's been pretty oblivious.
Like, how can you be that oblivious when you ignored your wife for clearly like half a season?
Well,
Whatever, which
because
is
he's been
probably
all over
like
the
2 weeks.
country. He's been traveling. He hasn't been home
Right,
really, has he? You know,
right.
like.
And then makes your
Mm.
wife get coffee for him and his whatever campaign people. JR can't track Leslie. Bobby and Pam talk about Alex. Ellie tells the family she stopped Takapa, and Jock's like, how'd you stop us? I am Takapa. And he
That
walks
was
out.
so
Sue
dramatic. He's like, I am Takapa. And I was like,
yeah.
just
And I
dramatic
love that.
delivery.
Do you
Stands up.
remember Sue Ellen's toast to Donna? And that's how it ended.
Yeah.
Welcome to the family.
Yeah.
And then there's just like, it was great. Sue Ellen's the best. Episode 18, The Mark of Cain, is directed by Larry Hagman again. He must have, I guess, signed on to maybe do a few episodes a season.
Yeah.
Um, Starts out with Punk, Ray, and Herb talking about Takapa. What else? And that the DOA stopped the deal, and what are they going to do to like get past it and whatever, fight the DOA,
Yeah.
which is the Daughters of the Alamo, right? We talked
I think
about.
that it's, yeah, I'm pretty sure
Yeah,
that's the one that they're going through. Yeah.
yeah. Bobby and Pam seem good this week. I guess they had to talk out the Alex situation. Now they're cool.
Well, yeah, they
They,
do. He mentions like, are we still in trouble, sort of thing. And Pam's not like just automatically healed either. By the way, she's sort of like like tells him about it, and it's like let's move forward now, type thing. You know?
yeah. Um, Ellie and Bobby talk. Jock was out all night. She's tired of him keeping shit from her. JR can't find Leslie. Sue Ellen is there. Doesn't she say something like she's right on the steps and he was like trying to get a hold of her on the phone or something? And she's like,
Yeah.
uh, what does she say? She's like, oh, can't find your help or can't, or something like that.
It's something like
What's wrong, darling? Can't find your
yeah,
help.
what's wrong? You know, can't find your good help these days, or something. It's something like that. Yeah,
Yeah,
she's just
it was
really
great.
half smart, like she always is.
And the phone rings and it's Clint calling for a booty call, basically.
Mm,
Um, Jock gets home. Bobby says, you should pull out of the Takapa shit. He's like,
mm.
no, ain't gonna do it. Ellie's mad
Yeah,
that
Bobby
Donna didn't
spends
say
like a bit of
anything.
time in this episode trying to mediate between everyone,
Yeah, I
as
feel for
usual.
him.
Well, he's always
Yeah,
the
'cause-
mediator, though. He really is.
well, I mean, whatever. He tried to leave once.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, so Ellie's mad that Donna didn't say anything because she knew about it, and she's like, well, I just kind of found out, and whatever, and it wasn't my business to tell. And Ellie respects that. So she's not mad at Donna.
Yeah, because staying silent
Leslie,
out of obligation is something that Ellie knows well. That's why.
yeah, right.
Ugh.
Leslie, Leslie is at Ewing. JR comes in. She brought a letter of resignation, um, and plays them like a fiddle. Continues to play them, and she leaves, I think, or maybe it just cuts to the next scene. Rebecca Wentworth is back.
Yeah.
Yay! She has such great chemistry with Pam. Like, it's just, I don't know. I guess the acting is so good, like between them. She goes to the store to see Pam, and like Jackie's there. Once Jackie leaves, they hug, and she's like, "Oh, mom, let me take you to lunch." Blah blah blah.
Hubby
Um,
dies. Hubby's dead. Which, they sort of
yeah,
briefly kind of foreshadowed it a little bit with her worry about him when they showed her, like when they introed her the first time.
right, right.
Yeah.
Cliff tells Bobby that so I forget what it was, but he has to be involved in the Takapa bill somehow. I guess because he's on the Senate. So, um,
He'll be asked to vote on it. Yeah, yeah,
yeah. So he did. I guess Bobby wasn't aware of that he would have to do that.
yeah. It just puts him
Um,
more directly in conflict with like stuff at home, obviously. So yeah.
sure does. Yeah. Rebecca tells Pam her husband died. She wants to mend fences, and she's like, what about Cliff? Whatever. And Pam's like, you don't want to meet that guy.
I haven't
He's like,
told him anything yet. Sorry.
yeah. And we find out that she's planning on moving there
Mm,
to Dallas. She said she looked into New York where Catherine is, but whatever. Catherine's just going to school there, so they want a permanent place, I guess. Donna uh, tells Bobby to vote his conscience for the Takapa, like how you feel, like whatever side you're on is not really a side. It's go with your gut.
mm.
Um, Jack Jack is happy that Leslie is gone because I guess we found out that she's gone for now, or going, or we think, whatever.
She's at least there
Um,
till the end of the season, I'm pretty sure.
yeah, JR says that he will get back in with the cartel, get in good with them, whatever.
Mm.
Clint and Sue Ellen have some hotel time. I put Bobby and Ray talk about Jock and Ellie, so it's just kind of ongoing through these because Jock and Ellie are having these problems. We get a good look at Phyllis finally.
Yeah,
She's been in all these episodes, but like she's just like a blip. She's just like, oh, there's Phyllis, and you see like the back of her head.
yeah.
But this one, you actually got to see her a little bit, which was nice because hopefully we'll be talking to her soon. JR gets to work with, and there's paparazzi everywhere. Leslie put some kind of story in the paper about the them like being against strip mining and preserving the environment.
Yeah, so it's putting because in the whole making Ewing oil look like it's all about safe uses of energy. She mentioned it a few episodes ago. By the sounds of it, she's just used that last little bit there to sort of like tie the end on to it, essentially, like because she's telling him not to go through with it, and then uses the exact
Right.
deal she heard about. as like a yeah as a sort of like a campaign point almost, you know?
But yeah, it's helping Ewing, but putting more of a dent in the cartel relationship.
Yeah, pressure. It's
So
pressuring them.
yeah, Jock is not pleased. Sue Ellen goes to Dr. Elby about Clint. She feels isolated, and if you want to talk more about that, because I know you love the Dr. Elby moments.
She feels isolated because she's not. What was it? I'm trying to remember those bits exactly because it's sort of like because in the first part there, he sort of tells her that she's like with regards to Dusty, it's like, you know, you put Dusty's needs ahead of your own feelings and like staying in that in sort of like a no-win situation. But now it's like sort of trying to get into why she is with Clint if there's no real hope there. And I think this is where the bulk of what I was talking about with her before comes into play. Because
Right,
in the end, she's finding connection with him, but she's still feeling lonely and everything like that. And it's pretty much because the relationship can't go anywhere. But she finds like
right.
those moments of happiness and stuff like that. Like she's just kind of sort of just still meandering along, you know?
I'm wondering if that's why she reaches out to Pam at some point, either in this one or the next one,
It
because
does
she kind of
happen.
connects with Pam, and I feel
Yeah.
like maybe that's why. Maybe she feels like maybe this is how you're saying how Dr. Albie has been helping her basically get going and working out her feelings, and that kind of makes sense though with that because she doesn't talk to Pam now, like without being an asshole kind of or being have a snide remark.
Yeah,
But with the
yeah.
connection with Pam, even though it is between what's happening with John Ross, it's actually like it's kind of almost like a olive branch. Like,
Mm.
hey,
Whereas before they
you
sort of
know,
so before they connected through John Ross and stuff like that, but Sue Ellen isn't really she wasn't able to really see it for that. So it's like that's why you have those
right,
moments where, like, when Pam lost her baby, like Sue Ellen's legitimately sorry for her. When Pam congratulates
right,
Sue Ellen on her pregnancy, Sue Ellen knows she means it. But they don't become friends until I think around like now next season type thing, you
yeah.
know. And I think they
But I think,
particularly over not
yeah,
just
like
this
this,
and John Ross, but what happens
right,
next
right,
season.
right. And I do love when they kind of have a better relationship.
Oh yeah, they're actually not
Um,
bad with French. They're actually like because you don't see them like hang out necessarily all the time, but they're around each other enough that Sue Ellen and Pam are friends.
right. I do love when they go to Japan together in like a few seasons.
Yeah, yeah,
Um, Pam and Rebecca, Pam helps Rebecca find a house in Dallas. She wants to meet Cliff, and Pam kind of keeps pushing it off. She's like, maybe not. Um,
yeah,
Lucy's getting interviewed when Mitch comes in. Um, he comes in, they're like, stand back, whatever. And he's like, I'll just stand out of here, basically, and
yeah.
rolls out. And then, Lucy looks like disturbed, of course. I, you know, they need Dr. Albie as well.
They do, they do.
Because I'm like, all they really need to do is set time aside for each other. You know?
Well,
But they
Mitch's
don't.
friend, I think, is a good way for him to be offered that alternate perspective because she doesn't sit there and agree with him either. Like he sits there, he's like, "Is it just
Yes.
me, or does this make sense?" And she's like, "Not really." And he's like, "Then it's just me then." You know, like she doesn't
It's a
kind of, yeah,
it's a shame she only hangs around for a few episodes because I do like her and what she
yeah,
brings. Because I feel like she's not trying to get Mitch or anything. She's just actually being a friend to him.
yeah. And I think she's like,
And it,
funnily enough, she's one of the characters that sort of seems to know them, like as them, but she's much more grounded than either Mitch or Lucy are.
yeah, and her
So,
name is Jean.
yeah,
And I might as well go into her now because I was going to bring her up in the next episode, but since you brought her up,
yeah,
she's actually in a lot of stuff. She actually her last acting gig was an episode of Castle.
yeah,
Her name is Ellen Bry. She played Julie in the live action version of Amazing Spider-Man in the 70s, which was I think before this role. It's funny because like when you see her like like her what's it called? Like her IMDb list. Like she's in a lot of stuff, but like random things, and she's been in like a like main roles of stuff where she's in 52 episodes of something, and like
Yeah.
later on she's like woman at bar or something. I'm like, how does that happen? Where you could be a lead character and then you're a woman at bar in like an episode of something later. Like I don't know. Um, but anyway, so she's in a few episodes it seems of what Young and Restless,
Hmm.
General Hospital Night Shift, Days of Our Lives. Actually, you probably saw her because you watched just recently 3 and 4, right?
Of what?
2003 of Days and
Oh
2004.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh,
It
it
actually
would have been like
lists
a year or
her.
two ago, but yeah.
It lists her in 2004, so you probably seen her and didn't even
Yeah,
know.
yeah, I wouldn't have. I
She,
wouldn't have.
yeah. Um, she's in Party of Five. She's in that Aaron Spelling show Hotel, so she gets around.
Yep.
Anywho, um, uh, so back to this Takapa resort thing. The Senate wants to like remove Bobby from this specific case, I guess, for a conflict of interest.
Yeah.
Um, and I guess they can do that, right? Like, can they? Because they just
Yeah.
talk about
Yeah.
it here, but it,
Well, it's not really like. Well, it doesn't really like reflect anything about his position. It just means that like in this particular issue, he's got a conflict of interest, so they'll just like ignore his vote. It's not like it doesn't really like it doesn't strip him of anything. It just means yeah, it's just a yeah.
like he shouldn't be involved because of that.
Yeah, just at least on
Um,
that issue, because that's what they say. So, like, he's sitting there on the board, on that table or whatever, and they're talking about other things as well. Like, but they come to the Takapa thing, obviously, because that's the scene we're supposed to be seeing. Um,
right.
and that's when they sort of bring up, oh, well, Bobby probably should have to step out of this one just because conflict of interest, yada yada yada. And yeah, so
Mhm.
I think that's pretty much just that as far as the vote goes. Nothing too dramatic.
Yeah. Jordan Lee goes to JR about the article, and he's basically like, "I'm finished with Ewing. You done."
Yeah,
When Mitch and Jean are talking in the next scene, these guys are like talking about how hot Lucy is and all this stuff. And yeah, like you said, Mitch like feels like he can't do anything about it. He wants to like attack, but like Jean's like, calm it down. There's nothing you could do. This is what's, she's like, it's a good friend to him.
yeah,
Um, Bobby tells the senators that he's in, that he'll do whatever he's got to do with the Takapa, situation. JR goes to Leslie. She says she's leaving town. Says she wants him. Oh, she says she wants him if she stays, but he would have to be divorced from Sue Ellen before she does anything with him.
yeah.
And she's like, "Do what you want. The ball's in your court." Um. So yeah. So she's got him by the balls, and she will not sleep with him unless he's divorced. So now, he's really gonna be trying to get this divorce or whatever for
Imagine like
17.
Imagine like thinking like I don't know like because of the way it plays out, I just sort of chuckled to myself and like imagine paying for a divorce just because you want to get your end wet. Like okay, really?
Right.
You're like okay, seems a bit much. I mean like I could understand a drive from into the city or something, bro, but Jesus, like because they live pretty far out of town. I think that's a decent
I
drive.
never heard
What?
I never heard it put that way before. Get your
Oh, yeah, yeah,
I never heard that. That must be an
yeah,
Australian thing, or I just whatever. I don't know. I never
yeah. It might be. I've
I
had
like
it a
it.
few times.
Episode 19 called The Gathering Storm. I don't really know what the Gathering Storm would be, but I guess
like
we'll talk about it.
is it? I always just figured it was the Ellie and Jock drama because doesn't this lead into their possible? This is
Yeah,
because this is
that makes
this is
sense.
where Jr. starts being sorry. This is where Jr. starts being dumb and starts talking to like when Jeremy Wendell and everything, isn't it?
Right. Yeah,
Yeah,
I believe so. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So it starts out with JR being shitty to Sue Ellen as always. He's like telling her something, something like, yeah, I can't seem to get you out of my bed, whatever. So whatever. I guess he's gonna push for this divorce soon, and she don't care what's going on anyway. Um, JR tries to place Donna and Ray at the table. He's like, why don't you take Gary's old spot? Like nobody's been there in
Yeah,
years and all that stuff. I'm like, just being typical JR dickhead.
yeah.
Um, Bobby comes home from Austin. I guess that's where he has to go for the Senate constantly, just fly back and forth to Austin.
I
I'm not
guess. I
sure.
mean, is Austin the capital? Is
I
Austin the
never know when
capital?
he's there.
But is Austin a capital
No,
of Texas?
no, Dallas is,
Oh,
isn't
it
it?
is? Okay. Then I don't know. I don't know.
I think now I'm unsure. Maybe it is Austin. I don't know.
I don't
I
know.
think it's Dallas,
That's the only thing
Texas.
I could think of. I don't know why they couldn't just have it in Dallas. But I thought, oh, maybe it's like a
Maybe it's
capital thing because it's like I don't know. Yeah, that's the only thing I could
wow.
think of.
I
Either
gotta go
way,
back
it's
to
held
grade
in
school.
Austin.
JR questions Bobby about handling Takapa.
Yeah.
Seriously, I'm like tired of saying it. Ray thinks that he will vote for Jock. He's like, oh, he's got to vote for Jock. It's his dad. Like he would never let his dad down. I'm like,
No.
fucking Ray, freaking men. Pam tells Bobby her mom is there and that she can't leave Dallas because he's like, listen, I'll do what I got to do, and then we might have to leave Dallas, whatever. And she's like,
Mm.
oh no, I can't because my mom's moving here.
Yeah. Like we can't now. Even though she was
Yeah,
pushing for that for on and off for a couple of years.
yeah, right. Fine, I know, right? Now he's talking. Well, although he did try to move, but then JR got shot and all that. Whatever. Shit
There's
happens.
always something that this is the thing though. There's
Always
always something
something.
that keeps them there. Like they've wanted. I
Yeah,
think this wouldn't even surprise me if they mention it in later seasons as well, and it still doesn't happen. So, but yeah.
right. Mitch confides what's going on with Lucy to his study buddy Jean.
Mm.
Um, Ellie, Jock, and Ray fight about Takapa. Shocker. Ellie tells Jock to stay in Dallas. She don't even
Yeah.
want him there anymore. Pam fills Rebecca in on how Cliff is. That she's like, you might not want to meet your son because he might be using you for your money, and you'll never really know.
Mm.
Um, that's a shame. Rebecca kind of looks like, oh, maybe she's feeling guilt too. She's probably like, maybe if I stayed on as his mom, maybe he wouldn't be the shitbag that he is.
Yeah.
Um, Leslie and JR meet, and she plays him again. Continues to play him. Sue Ellen and Clint talk about divorce. Um, that he should leave his woman, she should leave her man, but they don't. She
Do
doesn't
so.
want that to happen.
Yes. No.
Yeah. So a lot of this, like, I feel like is like very repetitive. So it's a lot of I feel like filler almost,
I think it
as
is a
as
feel.
watching
I
these.
see. I actually realized too. Isn't this around the time that Jim Davies was having health dramas?
It probably, I'm
So I
sure.
was sort of thinking because, like, I don't know, like it just seems kind of drawn out the whole Takapa thing. So maybe it was little things like that because Jock doesn't. He's in the episodes, but he doesn't really feature super heavily either, though. Like he's
Right,
not
you're
quite.
right.
And I sort of didn't realize it until I sort of thought about that over the last, say, handful of episodes. He hasn't really been all that present, and if he has, he's been sort of like seated. He's not sort of like and all that. So I was like, oh, maybe
Yeah,
that's why it's sort of dragged out a little bit, and stuff like that. Um,
yeah, you're
that's
right.
the
That
only
makes sense.
only thing I could. It's the only thing I could really think of, And then they've just kind of
Yeah,
adapted that last little arc for end of season in those last sort of 3 episodes. But like, yeah,
yeah,
I don't know. Maybe it just seems a little, like you said, it seems a little bit fillery, which is unusual because even like I mean, I reckon a lot of season nine's a long ass season, and there's quite a few filler episodes in that one. And even then, they don't kind of like, I mean, filler as in mostly filler. They still actually add to it. You know what I mean?
right, right.
Yeah.
Um, Mitch. is all mad that Lucy comes home late. It's like 10:30 at night. She's like, "Oh, I'll make you dinner." He's like, "I ate dinner." Like, what? He's all mad. He's like, "We're like roommates. Like, what is
Yeah,
happening?" And I love how she fights right back though this time. She's like, "I'm over your bullshit, dude. Like, get over yourself." She's just like,
yeah. She does. She gives it back
uh,
to him because she has been trying
yeah,
so hard for him to like have it
yeah,
both right, like to do everything, you know?
she really is. I know. Like, she is working. Like, I get it that
Yeah.
it's a sweeter job and she's getting more money, but that's how it is. Like, and he could be a model if he wants. He's hot. He could do some Playgirl, which he
It's
might
more
have.
like,
I'm gonna have to look into
yeah, I don't know about that.
that. Rebecca goes to Cliff. She's acting like a friend of his mother's, just to kind
She's
of get a feel
gauging
for
him.
him, just to
Yeah.
kind of talk to him too. Yeah. And
And
he's
Cliff's
like, I don't.
abrasive, even with people he likes.
Yeah, and he's like, listen, lady, I don't care if she's alive or dead. She's dead to me, basically. Sorry.
Honestly, that's
Um,
pretty much the same reaction I would probably have. Like, if someone came
yeah,
fishing, seemingly fishing about my dead mother or my maybe not dead mother, while I'm also now just pushing, like, just hooked a job with like a friggin' a US senator, I don't think I'd indulge that either. I'd be like, you're wasting my
right.
time. Get away from me, crazy old woman. You know, like,
Yeah, right. Um, Jean actually gives Mitch a bit of good advice,
mm.
for
She's been
his
doing that the whole
marriage.
time.
Yeah, and like this one was good. She's like, listen, like if you're both gonna go at it, one of you have to change. Like because or you're just it's just gonna keep happening.
Yeah, it's just gonna get worse.
Yeah. Donna tries to help Ellie, but she ain't having it. Afton's in it, but Afton doesn't do a damn thing. She's so in this one she sings a different song than the original one. It's not Take Me Away this time, it's a different one. I did
Mm.
make note of that. She
Isn't
had
it
two
that?
songs.
Isn't it just that Cliff notices her? Isn't that what that's sort of more?
Yeah,
Because it's Cliff, right? Yeah, I think it's just Cliff noticing
yeah,
her,
it is. I mean, because she's
and like,
singing there, so yeah.
I mean, but like she notices him too, doesn't she? Doesn't she look over at him?
Yeah, but I think that's the next episode that they actually talk. In this one, they
Yeah, I think
don't.
so. But I can't
That's
remember,
what I
but yeah,
mean.
no,
Like,
I thought
I
that
feel
scene was
like they,
mostly just to establish the eye contact. Like,
right? I guess so.
ooh,
Yeah, but yeah, because when yeah.
that's the only thing I can
So
think of.
Eclipse sees an old friend. His name's David as well. So we already have Dave Culver and David now.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
they've all got
who
the
was
same
in
names.
who was in Southeast Asia when the whole revolution thing was going on. He
Yeah,
brings and Cliff brings up Hank Johnson. He's trying to find out some information. Um, Bobby gets some kind of call, or Phyllis comes in and with information that Bobby gets some kind of um, call about a dummy corporation. So I was confused with that, and I put
I'd
owns
have to watch it
property.
again. I'm sorry, dude. I've completely blanked on that one. I'd have to watch it again.
Yeah, I don't know what it's about. It's probably something that
I'm
JR is doing.
I'm normally. Ah, wait. That doesn't have to do with JR going to Jeremy Wendell, doesn't it? Does it?
It might.
Because I know that because all the Ellie and Jock stuff sort of G's up to the point where they're like really fighting and obviously and all that,
Yeah,
and JR sort of like
JR is
preparing for a
preparing.
possible divorce,
And I think
which would
that's what it has to do with. But Bobby's too
yeah.
busy with that stuff, so he
I
didn't, he doesn't know what's happening.
I'm normally pretty good with that stuff, but I completely blanked on that one.
Right. Um, Rebecca is upset that Cliff is a douche. That's what I put. David and J David and JR talk about Cliff and Jeremy Wendell, about the
Mm,
counter revolution. JR is acting like, oh, I would know nothing about that.
as usual, sticking to the
Um,
story.
right. Um, basically Ewing may be in jeopardy and he wants to work with Jeremy Mendel, like basically selling Ewing oil to him and whatever. So do you know this guy, Dave, from anything? Do you recognize him?
Actually, he does look really familiar. and I'm pretty sure it's from like I think it's from Dynasty, but I can't remember exactly when.
I think he is in Dynasty, but when I looked it up, I didn't see that. But I think he
Well,
is
what
in
does
a
it
few
say on?
episodes. Well, his name's Christopher Stone. He was married to Dee Wallace Stone, from Cujo and the hundred,
Yeah,
yeah,
she's great.
another hundred horror movies. What else is she in? The Howling,
E.T.
um, E.T. of course, yes.
Um,
Um,
I mean, I suppose Lords of Salem's a horror movie, but that's also one she did recently, like the last 10 years.
which one?
Lords of
Oh
Salem.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Lords of Salem, yeah. Yeah, I guess yeah, she was in the Rob Zombie Halloween too, but I don't like to talk about that. I hate
Yeah, she dies
it.
pretty badly in one. But I like her as sort of like one of the witches in Lords of Salem, along with Magenta,
Yeah.
even though it's not her name, Patricia Quinn. But yes.
Magenta. He also played Bill Horton on Days of Our Lives, Christopher Stone, that is, for a handful of years, from like 87 to 94. So he was
I
on
wonder
for a
if that
lot
I
of
may have
time.
seen him in flashbacks then on Days.
Could have been,
Because
yeah.
I do like he does look familiar as he is in this show. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like from like the 80s. It's old days. It's definitely not like like modern. That because I do find that he looks familiar. I just thought it was from something like,
Oh, he's in a
Dynasty.
lot, yeah.
Yeah,
He's in a lot of one episodes of stuff. He also was in an episode of or episodes of several shows that I love, Bionic Woman and Wonder Woman. So yeah. And he died at 55 years old of a heart attack.
that's too young.
I know. I'll be 55 in 10 years. So, anywho, yeah, I
So,
love Christopher Stone. He just has that face, like he's always like the sweet guy.
yeah,
Um, Episode 20, season 4, our last episode of this series, or this bunch of episodes.
this week.
Ew-
Yeah,
Ewing versus Ewing. Ellie goes to a divorce lawyer, who of course is a friend of the Ewings. His name is Lincoln. He's
yeah.
around a couple times in this episode, and he's all upset about it. He's like, "Do you really want to do that? Like, you and Jock have been together
Mm.
forever." Like, and she's like, "Listen, pal. Like, I'll get another lawyer if I got it.
She's like, don't
Like,
tell me. Like,
yeah. Like, I'm trying to get a divorce here. What the fuck?" Um, Jock tells Bobby that Takapa will be built. He says he may take a way out if Bobby has one. Because Bobby's like, what if I can find a good way, a way out for you? And like, would you be open to it? And he's like, yeah.
yeah, yeah,
Reluctantly, because he wants his project to work, but he also does love his wife in his own way of hiding
yeah,
secrets constantly. Um, Jeremy and David meet and they discuss JR and Cliff, and he's like, um, Jeremy wants David to kind of, I guess, kind of spy on them, like just tell me if anything I need to know, if they're saying anything, whatever.
yeah.
I forgot that he does hang around for a little bit. And he might be into the next season, actually, maybe. Um, JR gets a dude to find out how much Ewing is worth. I wasn't sure of the guy's name, but I guess he's the money man for Ewing.
I'm not sure if that one meant
Um,
anything either. I knew that what the one you mentioned before was sort of more important because he reappears, but I think this is just to say that like JR's trying to get the company
yeah.
evaluated.
John Ross Jr. is sick. Sue Ellen confides in Pam. This is what I was talking
Mm.
about John Ross. Um, Ellie and Donna come in, and Ellie tells her the news that she's going to divorce, or tells them the news that she's going to divorce Jock, and everybody's just like, shocking. Um, uh, Lincoln tells JR about Ellie. Mitch apologizes to Lucy. She says she loves them, of course, because she always does. And her limo is there, and she's got to go. And then Mr. Jenkins is
Yeah.
like, well, here we go again. Think he just
No,
wanted
but
to get laid.
even before she leaves, she's like, I really promise. Like, I totally believe Lucy that she felt really awful. Like she had it, and yeah.
Yeah, it's a tough time for them since like
I
day
think it's
one.
just
That's
more
why I
that
said,
like I think it's more that like you sort of get that Mitch has got a bit of the douchey pride, but you also sort of get why he's upset. You also get where Lucy's coming from, but you get that like that she wants to stay, but why she's also going. Like I
right,
think this is actually probably I don't know like as far as that sort of like the because like Lucy and Mitch have a similar storyline to Ray and Donna in that regard, and I don't know I like Mitch and Lucy's a little bit more.
yeah, yeah, it's a little bit better, but I would have liked like a few happy moments between them. Like there was only like one. Like that's
True,
what I
but
said.
that's
Like
like kind of
they
true with most of the characters, unless they have like a long marriage. We don't see any happy moments with JR and Sue Ellen until like
well, like
years.
how come Mitch and Lucy couldn't go on a honeymoon where something like
Ah, they
interesting
did,
happened
but we
there?
didn't
Like
see it.
wait, well that's what I'm saying. Like why couldn't they show them on a little honeymoon that like they had like a little adventure kind of storyline for a few episodes that like bonded
Because they would
them,
have to
and then they
pay
get
for that,
back.
man. They would have to pay for that, and what? They're gonna go on some adventure treasure quest on their honeymoon. Come on now, it's not
Well,
daytime, yo.
it would have been cute.
It
Anyway,
would have been, but still.
um,
We'll do a
David
days
goes,
done and like make a small little prime time special out of it. Just do the vice versa
yeah,
because Dallas
uh,
was prime time.
and nobody has primetime episodes anymore from daytime, unfortunately.
But
Um,
anyways,
David goes to see JR, informs him about Cliff. I don't think they really talk about anything major.
uh,
They just kind of, whatever.
no,
I guess it's
most of
wrapping
this
up for
seems
the
to
last three
be
episodes.
yeah, like most of it seems to be more of like a build on what JR's doing currently now, as and the other plot liners in Takapa and like Ellie and Jock's dramas. They all sort of resolve around this episode. So
Yeah. Rebecca brings up Catherine Wentworth to Pam. Cliff sees them. They're at lunch, like in the same. What are they? They're at Afton's place. Maybe I don't know where they're at.
yeah, it's something like that. He runs across them because I remember he tries to track Pam down and basically be like, "This woman's a scammer."
Yeah. Um, I know. I like that conversation too.
Yeah, so do I.
Um, Leslie and JR are together. He wants to bang. She's like, nope. And something about I think he's gonna get her a penthouse. I forget. I think
Yeah,
she said she wanted a penthouse.
it's something like that. It's something just
And they actually
man.
kiss. I guess because
I need to learn Leslie Stewart's tricks because I could really do with a penthouse. Are there any
yeah,
like
right.
known oil magnates out there that are also watching this? Hi, like
Yeah,
I'll
right.
do my hair next time so I look pretty. Like
He can pretty up.
yeah, I'll make sure I'm
Um,
dressed. I wear a collared shirt.
and they end up kissing. So I guess she knows she has to like, hold on to him,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
that helps. Clint shows Sue Ellen around his company, and he's like, "I'll give it up for you." He seems frustrated. He wants it for a wife. She's like,
Mm.
"No, I don't want that. Whatever." He's like, "We can't go on like this." That type of thing.
Yeah, yeah.
JR and Jeremy meet up for him to sell Ewing. Apparently, Jock needs to sign too because I forget what it's called, but he's on the Ewing name as well, so he needs to see the papers. And I think that he thinks that Jock's going to be okay with this. Like, because I think he was going to tell him at one point.
Yeah, like this whole bit, it just screams of like red file, Southeast Asian oil wells, and all that. And like, like, dude, just stop. Like, stop and
Yeah,
wait till you find out. But I suppose in some respects, if the divorce was to go ahead and like proceed, then does that mean that like immediately assets would then be tied up and JR wouldn't have access to them? I'm not exactly sure how it would
yeah, I'm
necessarily
not
work
sure.
in terms of like when does that type of stuff begin? Does that begin once things are filed, or is there like an element of processing? I'm not sure. I don't exactly know how
Right.
it would work. But I
And
just
he
feel like
tell,
JR's being premature. That's all.
yeah, and JR says that they have a deal, so he's going to sign it over. And I guess he still has to talk to Jock. He's like, yeah, it shouldn't be a problem, whatever. Um, we have Craig is at Leslie's place, and that's her ex-husband.
Mm.
Um, he
It's
asks
a bit
about
more of an
JR.
exposition scene on that one.
Well, this is kind of where we find out exactly what she wants because she says she wants a bigger, like a high-paying client list and a good divorce settlement. So she does plan on marrying JR.
She wants
We
the
get that.
money, and she wants the money and the connections.
And he also makes a joke about her taping him. He's like, "You're not taping me, are you?" She's like, "No, I only need to tape people when I need." And she's like, "I stopped taping you years ago," or something like that.
Well, that's because she already got the divorce. Like
Right. Cliff goes to Pam about her lunch with Rebecca, and Pam ends up telling him that is their mom. It's time for the hearing. Bobby has a map of Takapa. I was trying to keep track of this, but it's really hard. Do you know it?
so. Basically, he was able to find an alternative that meant that they could still develop on the land without affecting the natural resources and all that, without screwing it up. So, like, I
The
remember.
land's big enough.
Yeah, so like the way he divided it up, because he did it. I actually really like this, and I bloody was supposed to write more notes about it because I actually do like this scene. Bobby, the ever the mediator,
Right.
um, but like I think that he did really well with that, and he sort of immediately takes the steam out of his parents, which obviously leads to Jock and Ellie, dealing with their shit for once and actually having to have a real
Right.
conversation. So like, I love that. I like that scene. And I think it's
Yeah.
basically the way he divided it up. It was a way of what was it? What was it? I think the land that the particular part of the natural area that Donna and Ellie wanted can still be preserved while they develop on another part of the land that still won't affect how the business operates when they develop on it. It's just stuff like that. And
Right.
Bobby's able to figure it out, and it's really good.
Yeah. And then basically, and the guys accept first, and then the DOA accepts. And
Yeah.
Jock seems happy, and then he's like, "Oh, see, Ellie, now it's all good." And she's like, "Whatever, it ain't." And she
Yeah, because
leaves.
it's not about that for her. Obviously, Jock, you
Right.
idiot.
Right.
That drove me nuts where
Um,
he's just like, oh, all's good now. And I'm like, like,
Bobby,
why
Bobby
are
gets
people like
home, and
this?
Bobby gets home, and Pam's all mad. Pam's like, "You sold out and whatever," and
Yeah.
he's like, "No." He's like, "I worked out a compromise." She's like, "Miss Ellie went up to her room," and she's like, "Oh man, so I just assumed you did that." She never assumed, people.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Pam.
Um,
Nah.
Afton seems Afton sings the same second song in this one, and she sings "Take Me Away."
Yeah.
Only, um, and that's when Afton and Cliff meet up, and like he's like, "Oh, I've seen you
Actually
before."
talk.
He's like, "What?"
And actually talk. Like, isn't that
Oh
when they
yeah,
first
yeah,
like, have a proper conversation? Yeah.
yeah. They meet and they sit down together and just chat. Um, Cliff, what? No, Cliff and David. I have. I guess they talk about Southeast Asia. I don't know.
Ah, because Cliff's fishing, isn't he? Isn't he still fishing? Because
Yeah,
David like sitting there basically trying to like he's kind of trying to like throw him off a little bit. Like he's not telling him
yeah,
he's not really denying, but he's not really telling him everything either.
right. JR asks Jock about the divorce and tells him about West Star. And Jock's like, "Oh, I have to go to see the land in Zacapa with Ray or whatever," and blows him off basically.
Yeah,
So he did try to tell him that he's like, "I need to talk to you." Like he was actually going to tell him the
yeah,
situation
but that's
before
because
getting
JR
out.
needed like some sort of decision right there and then, and instead of waiting, he just makes the decision for himself.
Right. Ray talks to Ellie about her issue with him, and he says he never wanted to take Gary's place. Ray
Mm.
gives up the trust. He's like, "I'll give up my trust. I'll do whatever I got to do for you guys not to split up." Allie says that Ellie says that Gary won't be back because he isn't happy here, and she finally admits it. And she tells Ray that he's Ewing and to stay, and that includes Jock as well. Because Jock's like, "Does that include me too?"
Yeah. Well, Ellie never would have made. Ray give up what he was entitled to. She was just angry about that he was entitled to it. Like,
Yeah,
well,
there was a
and
lot
like
of
honestly,
things that
Red needs
drove
to
her to
stop lying. Like that man needs to stop lying and stop
it.
not. A lie of omission is a lie, my sweet. It is still a lie.
Right,
Like you know,
right.
this dog.
Yeah, so yeah, so now I guess they worked out their problems in 4 episodes. Now they're not fighting anymore.
Granted, it has been going for like half a season where she's been like super passive aggressive with him. So you know, thank God they finally
Well,
worked it out.
right. Yeah, well, the whole Takapa thing was the whole entire season, pretty much.
Yeah, it was.
And I don't think it's over yet. I think they still talk about
Yeah, no, I don't think it is, but yes.
it. But yes, that is all I have for those episodes. Anything you want to add to these?
No, I think I'd agree mostly that they were a little bit fillery and they were sort of resolving the Ellie Jock drama. But I do think that I can't remember exactly, but I do pretty sure all the junk with JR, like you know, trying to organize selling Ewing oil to Westar if divorce was to occur, blah blah blah. I think that all starts to play out towards like I don't because I swear it's what gets Jeremy Wendell pissed off with JR in the first place.
Right.
And like doesn't really want to deal with him in the future, but does obviously. But yeah, I'm just yeah, I'm trying to remember where that goes. Plus, the next 3 episodes actually sort of like well, you know what Dallas is like towards end of season. It tends
Mm,
to heat up
rev
pretty
up.
well. Yeah,
Hmm.
so I'm pretty sure that starts next episode. So
Yeah, so we have 3 more episodes left of the season, so we'll bring you the shocking finale next week.
was it
Yeah.
character returns, character arcs resolved, you know, characters leave.
Well, we meet Catherine for the first time, right? We didn't meet her yet.
No, I was like characters arrive, characters leave,
Oh, I
stuff
thought
like
you
that.
said
Character
Catherine. I
comes
thought you said
back.
Catherine comes back.
No, 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 characters
All right.
come back.
Gotcha. Yeah. Yeah, so it's fun. I do love watching Dallas.
I'm excited for season 5 though because I remember that really like I don't know like I like all of it so far, but I remember just feeling like season 5 just it was really good, and then season 6 just heats up again. I think it's yeah. I think like season 8 for me is where it sort of starts to like drag on a little bit in terms of that murder trial. Ugh. But we'll get to that obviously. But yeah,
Who gets murdered?
who's on
But
trial for far
yeah.
too long? Like,
Oh yeah, yeah. I know what trial you're talking about now. I forgot for a
my God,
minute.
that drives me insane. It
Yeah, that was
did.
a little ridiculous. I wonder
Yeah,
why that happened.
it's because it was a
Also,
30. It was like a 30 episode season. It was too long.
yeah,
Like it was one of those big. It's
yeah, that's
like
true.
it's trying to keep track of Melrose unless you're actually watching it. Those seasons are like 30, 35 episodes and everything happens.
Yeah,
You know, like
true. It's weird. And then like when I guess ratings went down, then they dropped back to 22 episodes a season.
yeah. And like, oh, people have had
All of
enough, I
them.
guess. Yeah.
Right, right.
Although the Dallas ones all stayed relatively high up until the last, I think, 2 from memory.
Yeah, yeah, like the last 2 or 3. The third might, or the like, what is it? I guess 12 might have been 24 episodes.
Mm.
Maybe 25, but then it was like 22 and 22.
Yeah.
But all right. But I want to wrap this up this week, and we'll
Yeah.
bring you some more Dallas next week. Thanks for joining us. Have a good day, everyone. Bye.
See you guys.